What's going on, everybody? My name is C4, and we have stopped the clock just over 36 total hours. And we're done. At least version number 1, we are done. I am excited to share with you guys, everybody that is on Xbox Next Gen that plays Madden 24, my draft classes are live. All you gotta do, either search up by my name or 2025 NFL Draft. It has literally gone live, and it is full. 450 players. That's not just the draft no players. That is the UDFAs. I did that. Obviously, maybe that's a little bit of OCD, but I did for a bigger reason, which I am going to explain, because the last little tagline there is myself and Bengal talked before the game dropped and said, you know what? You know, people always ask me when I make my draft classes. Last year, I took it off, let Bengal just handle it. I just didn't have time to do it. This year, I wanted to get back in the draft, because not only is it just something to do, and I enjoy, obviously, the realistic aspect, and now we're going to have, when Bengal finishes his draft class, 2024 and 2025, that we can utilize in rebuilds and content, which is awesome. But like, it also, when I'm making these draft classes, I got to do research, I got to make the list, I got to figure out which players are going to use, and it's just like a fun deep dive into the world of college football. So we go with the full 450. This is going to be compatible with Bengals 2024 draft class. Now, he is still working on his, so it's a little weird to have 2025 done ahead of 2024. But I mean, these take so much time. Again, I think 36 hours minimum is where I'm at to finish this draft class. And basically, what I'm going to do is I compiled, me and Bengal have like a spreadsheet. But essentially, when he finishes like his first draft class, all the positions, I'm going to go through and release version 2 of mine, get rid of any duplicate players, because there will be some overlaying. He'll have some underclassmen that I have in my 2025 currently. But as soon as he is done his official draft class and has everybody ready to go, then I will go in, give version 2.0 of the 2025, which could feature some pretty big players if he helps me out here, because the quarterback spot is hurting, and it does look like Quinn Ewers and Shedeur Sanders are going to return to school, and I will be able to utilize him here in 2025, but right now I assume he's going to chuck him in 2024. So like just little things like that. Once the dust is settled on this 2024 class, I'll be able to go into 2025, remove the dupes, and have it all good to go. So that is that. For those of you that want a little bit more of a deep dive, I'm going to break down the draft class for you. I'm going to quickly break down the draft class here. I'm not going to give you guys a lesson on every single player. That I just more so want to highlight the state of every single kind of position, things that are of note. First of all, hopefully Bengal throws me a little bit of bone here and lets me get Shedeur Sanders and Quinn Ewers for this draft class, because it's not a particularly strong quarterback class, and that's always the biggest position, the exciting position. So to add some excitement, not only to the quarterback spot, but a couple other positions, and understanding the fact that I think I'm arrogant and confident enough, knowing that like the Bengals 2024 and my 2025 are probably going to be like the premier draft classes on Xbox Next Gen. These aren't going to be available on PlayStation. These aren't going to be available on PC. So, knowing that we're not doing 2026, I kind of went with the approach for my 2025 class that it's going to be the actual 2025 / the best of the rest. So the best of players that can't be eligible. So that'd be guys that are going to be sophomores next year, freshmen next year. I want to just throw them in there just to have a little bit of fun with the draft class. And, you know, if it bothers you enough, you know, you can go in and get rid of them. There's not a lot. You know, I'd say out of 450 players, probably 10, 15-ish are not officially eligible for 2025 that I just threw in. Your Arch Mannings, your Dante Moores. Because, you know, especially at the quarterback spot, it's a boring class, man. I had to try to add a little bit of excitement to the class. So that's why we got that. I'll say, you know, some big athletes here. Like, this list is combined based off of what I've watched. Some of the smarter people in the draft community. We went off like Bruce Feldman's freak list on The Athletic, where he highlighted some absolute freak of nature athletes in college football. And shout out TJ Finley, 6'7", 250-pound quarterback. He's a fun player, wink, wink. But not a particularly strong draft class. And again, hopefully, you know, when we come to version 2 and as we refine this, we'll be able to add some bigger names. Strong running back class, though. Nicholas Singleton from Penn State leads the line here. But Judkins, Martinez, Marion Hampton, Branson Robinson, who's on that freak list, Trevor Etienne, Travis's brother at Florida's crushing it. You have GT here from Boise State, who's crushed, like, I think the yards from scrimmage leader in all of college football for Boise State. We have a couple of freshmen here, guys that wouldn't actually officially be eligible, Darius Taylor and Dylan Edwards of Colorado. Ollie Gordon here, who's a leading rusher right now, I think in terms of yardage. Rushing yards, that is. But we got some big time names here for sure. More than enough. And I always try to find the sleepers because every now and again there'll be a guy that's like a fan of, Texas State, and they're gonna go, yes, I can get some of my favorite Texas State players. I try to show love to everyone. We got obviously the great Pat Phoenix at Friends University at fullback. Fullback was tough, finding like guys that are underclassmen that play fullback. It was tough, but we got some. We got to throw a couple in there. Wide receivers is stacked. Luther Burden is S tier. Zachariah Branch, great utility type guy. Evan Stewart, Sturdivant, Nick Anderson, Nick Harbor. I'll just say this: the number one freak on Bruce, like 6'5", 243, ran like 100 meters. Like, I'm just gonna tell you right now, if you want just a ridiculous player, that's gonna be your guy right there. There's a little bit of a spoiler. But the rest of the class, it's a pretty strong wide receiver class. Lots of depth. And again, I went with realistic ratings. Not necessarily. And I would say realistic on the side of fun. Not realistic on the side of like every single player that's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round are like below a 70. There's some fun players and there's some dev traits sprinkled in that you might not assume where a dev trait is. Tight end, pretty good. A lot of underclassmen, a lot of, Mason Taylor, Loveland. You got Holden Stays, Deuce Robinson, who's a true freshman right now. Arkansas's tight end is true freshman, but pretty good tight end. Offensive line was pretty strong. Will Campbell and Kevin Banks look like franchise tackles. Interior offensive line, a little on the weak side. I got Logan Jones up there. He was on Bruce Feldman's freak list. At center, you have Dylan Fairchild, who's starting at Georgia as a sophomore, which is not particularly easy to do. And then at right tackle here, we have a really nice list with Maigoa. Probably butchered that, but he's actually, I think, a true freshman starting tackle for Miami. Also very high on Bruce Feldman's freak list. So really strong for tackle. Not so much on the interior, but you'll be able to find a couple gems here or there. Defensively, we have Ruben Bain Jr. out of the U. Absolutely crushing it this year. Probably the best young pass rusher in college football. Michael Williams from Georgia is up there. Jonah Ellis from Utah. James Pierce and Shamar Turner. If you guys need some pass rush help, they are going to be available here. You have Adebaware, who everyone should know if you're looking at freaks in current Madden, on the Colts. His brother on Oklahoma. I don't know if he's as freaky of an athlete, but he's pretty legit. We got Landon Jackson. He actually might go 2024, but as it stands right now, we have the big 6'7" LSU transfer here in the first round, Ethan Burke from Texas as well. At defense, actually, I kind of will show at least all the draftable guys. Not really looking for suggestions if I missed anybody, but by all means, if you go look at the draft class and you said, oh, we need to get this guy, feel free to leave that in the comment section below. I always want to refine my list in case I have a brutal, notable omission. Walter Nolan, the Godfather, Dante Corleone on Cincinnati, Deion Walker from Kentucky, gigantic human being at 6'6", 350 pounds. Josh Farmer's a guy. Every time I watch Florida State, he pops off the tape. So it's a decent D-tackle class. Nash Hutmacher, the Bear, I believe is what he's called, from Nebraska. He's a monster. Speaking of, we have Bear Alexander from USC. D-tackle is probably stronger than the defensive ends in this class. So here's now we're going to break down. Left outside linebackers in my draft class, these are your edge rushers. These are your 3-4 outside linebackers led by Javon Solomon out of Troy. Elite production, big-time athlete as well. So those guys there are 3-4 edge rushers. Middle linebackers are middle linebackers, led by Deontay Lawson of Alabama. Edgerrin Cooper has put up ridiculous numbers for Texas A&M. Trevin Wallace is also a big-time athlete out of Kentucky. So those are your middle linebackers. And then your right outside linebackers are like your tweeners. They can rush the passer. Some of them are more traditional off-ball linebackers than they are edge rushers. So that's where you put, one of the best players in all college football in Harold Perkins. We have Anthony Hill Jr., Abdul Carter. Those are really the big three. Jalen Walker was, I believe, a 5-star recruit for Georgia. Look at this guy. Suntarine Perkins. Probably going to be first ballot all-freshman SEC this year, so we decided to throw him in there. Trey Moore has ridiculous production for UTSA. I believe he's in like 15 TFLs, 12 sacks, something crazy like that. So these guys here are more your off-ball linebackers, but they do have some pass rushing capabilities. So that's just kind of the way you think about it. Left outside linebacker are your edges, and then middle linebacker, right outside linebacker are more your off-ball guys. Corner is the strength of this draft class. This is going to be a very, very strong class. So we have Travis Hunter, who is a bit of both. And people are going to ask, like, what position? I actually originally had him at wide receiver, but I put him at corner. It's going to be your decision. If you go get Travis Hunter, he is going to be capable at either spot, but I think it's probably going to end up in real life. He's going to get drafted as a corner, primarily play corner, and maybe you sprinkle in some offensive snaps here or there, like maybe like Marcus Jones did for the Patriots, Patrick Peterson did back in the day. So that is why we decided to put him at corner. But Will Johnson, Benjamin Morrison, both these guys legit, put them on an island type prospects, I think, for the next level. Everett from Georgia is legit. We have some guys that made the freak list. Amorian Walker, 6'3", with elite athleticism. Colby Taylor from Wyoming, 6'3", with elite athleticism. Cormani McLean, 5-star, consensus 5-star, number 1 overall type recruit players. We decided to throw in there as well. I definitely would say overall the strongest single position in this class is the cornerback room. You're going to be able to, hey, if you put this draft class in, you need corners, you're going to be able to find them on every single day of the draft. Safety room, we have Malachi Starks and Vaki from Utah, who is kind of like Travis Hunter, plays a little bit of offense and defense as well. So a big-time player when we've given him, similar stats to Travis Hunter. So you can play him really wherever you want. And we got Xavier Watts, who could go 2024. Big-time production this year for Notre Dame. And we finish up. We got the strong safeties, Caleb Downs, killing it for Alabama. Looks like the next great Alabama safety prospect. Sonny Styles at 6'5", 228. An elite run defender. So if you need a big-time player there. We got some big, strong safeties. James Williams, 6'5", 225 out of Miami. 6'3", 220 from South Carolina. 6'4", 215, Malik Verdon out of Iowa State. Got some of those old schools, Legion of Boom style players that you can add to your second. You know what? I actually give you some kickers too. Kickers and punters. That was actually pretty tough because there's not really, you can't really just, I don't really watch a lot of kickers and punters and stuff like that. So I kind of just, I looked at literally, short list for the Ray Guy Award and the Kicker Award and looked at the stats and tried to refine it as best that I possibly could. But that is, ladies and gentlemen, my 2025 NFL Draft Class on Xbox Next Gen. So if you're at this point in the video, for sure, go in and check the draft class out. If I'm missing anybody that you think will be there in 2025, look at underclassmen for sure. Look at sophomores, true freshmen that I have missed. That would be really, really fun to put in. And definitely let me know in the comment section below. All I ask for in return is if it is your first time stopping by, you appreciate this draft class, you're going to utilize this draft class, just subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow with a new episode of the Arizona Cardinals franchise. Got a rebuild coming the day after that. Lots of good content popping off to close out this week. But I'm done! 36 hours plus. And 2025 version 1 is completed. And then whenever Bengal finishes 2024, I'm sure we have to put a couple more hours in to make sure there's no dupes and get it fully optimized to work with his draft class. But I think when both these classes get fired, all cylinders, it's going to be awesome for the community. And happy that me and Bengal can come together and make some of that things pretty damn cool. And we're also, going to be able to utilize that in our own content. So that'll do for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, it's Boise Force saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one.